Hey, welcome to Knit Locally. Today we're going to talk about the gusset on our Rose City Rollers, and we're going to be going over the gusset for our Flexi-flips and also for our magic loop. It's the same technique, so we'll just shoot it in one video. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about picking up the gusset stitches on our sock. It's the Flexi-flips and the magic loop is actually really the same technique. So I'm showing you on the Flexi-flips. So this is the shape we're going to go for right now. Okay, so according to my pattern, I have knit across my heel, right? So I have my little triangle, I've knit across the heel. Now I'm going to pick up along the side, knit across, pick up along the side, and then I'll be ready to decrease in the round. So when we were creating our heel flap, we should have been slipping each stitch on the edge. And this is what creates this really nice, clean V's for us to now go and pick up. So you can pick up just one. I prefer to pick up two. I actually think it just keeps it cleaner. So what I like to do is I actually like to keep a stitch marker here just for a minute. I'm going for 16 stitches along here, but to be fair, it doesn't always work perfectly. So I just want to make sure I can count correctly which are my heel stitches and which are the flap stitches. So I'm going to pick up 16, or we're going to try really hard. And you see how I'm actually going to pick them up with this spare needle, and then I'm actually going to put them back on this needle, but I'll show you that in a second. Okay, so I go under two V's here. And you know how you're doing this correctly is if you're getting a clean edge here and your sort of raw bumpy edges on the underneath. You won't feel it, but you don't want that on the other side. So let's see if we can get 16 stitches on our first try. All right, so let's see how many I have so far. Okay, so I have 16 stitches. Now, the way I've picked these up, there will be a slight gap when I go to knit in the round, and I'll show it to you. I actually just use scrap yarn and sew that up when I'm done. When I am doing this, for convenience purposes, I actually like to keep all of my heel stitches on this one back needle, right? So I am actually, now that I've picked them up, I can continue to work in the round, but what I'm gonna do first is I'm actually gonna slip all of these heel stitches I just picked up, the gusset stitches. It's a little bit fiddly, but worth it in the end, I promise. I am going to slip them purlwise to this other needle. So you're just slipping them purlwise, right? So we're just slipping purlwise. And I'm just going to keep this stitch marker in there for a minute. I will let it go, but it's just helping me keep track of these back stitches for a second. So go all the way around, just slip all those there. Because what we're going to end up doing is we're going to end up decreasing out these excess stitches so that we have 32 on the top, 32 on the heel. And so this just keeps all of our heel stitches together on one needle, and we don't have to fiddle with them later. We're going to be decreasing here. So now I'm going to continue around, knitting the top of my foot stitches. Okay, now we're back up again. Okay, so now we finished knitting across the top of the foot, and now we're going to pick up our stitches along the second side of this heel again. So I'm just going to slip my marker in again, because if I have to pull something out or go back, it's a clean way for me to start. So start there. 1, 2. And again, we know we're going the right direction because my clean edge is here, and you can see my sort of picked up edge is in the middle there. And I do find that when I slip, there is always one edge that is super easy to pick up and the other edge that tends to be slightly more challenging or less clean, I suppose it is. Seems to be my easy edge. As I get towards the end here, I will count my stitches so I can see if I need to maybe skip over a stitch, maybe I made an extra row or two, or if I need to pick up an additional stitch in the edge, something, just so I can get to my clean 16. And again, this number is a little bit flexible. If you find yourself you have to pick up 18 so it's a clean edge, pick up 18 and you'll just have to decrease an additional round, right? So it's not set in stone. So let's see how I'm doing here. Okay, so 16 pretty cleanly. Okay, so now I am going to actually put these stitches on my needle just like the other one. So you see how I'm slipping them through sort of the back loop without twisting them. Okay. And I can get rid of that stitch marker. Okay. So now I have all of my heel stitches, which seems like a lot, on this back needle, which would be the same if you were doing magic loop. You'd have 32 stitches here for the top of your foot, assuming you're doing the middle size. And then you'd have a lot. I don't know exactly how many are on the back. But anyway, you have your excess stitches here on this second needle. And what I like to do, because we're going to be decreasing on these edges here, it just keeps it really clean. I don't really have to think about it. Okay, so this is a bit of like fiddly work here. But I slipped from my working needle, and now, unfortunately, this is really like slipping twice. I probably could have actually just slipped to this third needle to begin with, but I wasn't thinking. I'm slipping them on my working needle here, and we're gonna knit all the way across. Let me show you. There's a bit of slipping, but I'm telling you, it really does save you in the end. Okay, so now these are my gusset stitches. Okay, here's my last stitch. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, these are my top of the foot stitches, these are my heel stitches. So I'm gonna continue to work. There we go. Okay, so these are heel flap stitches. Okay. Now technically my beginning around is in this middle portion here. So it's like 10 stitches either side, according to my pattern. So now this is my beginning of round. I've worked picking up all the stitches. So this is our decrease round. So let me show you that. And this is why you'll see the fiddliness comes into play. It makes the fiddliness pays off at this point. Okay, so I get rid of my stitch marker. Now I'm working the heel flap. So I'm going to work to 3 stitches from the end here. So let's see. So now I am 3 stitches from the end. And what I'm going to do to decrease, because you work 1 plain round, 1 decrease round, 1 plain round, 1 decrease round. This is going to be my decrease round. Get that out of the way there. Okay, so I am going to slip, slip, knit. Then knit 1. Gives us just a really clean edge. Now I'm going to knit across my foot, or the top of my foot here. the top of the foot is actually just the same. You just keep working the top of the foot in knit stitch only. Don't worry about decreasing or anything else. You're only decreasing on that second needle, or the bottom of the foot, really. Okay, so I finished the top of my foot, and now I'm ready to work my side again, or the bottom of the foot. So I'm going to knit 1 and then knit 2 together. Fiddly with all the stitches, but don't worry. So I'm going to knit 2 together. Okay. And that's it, just keep going. So now I'm going to continue to work until I get to my beginning of round. Okay, hold on. I'm going to continue to work until I get to my beginning of round, and then I'm going to start and do one plain round where I just knit. And then the next round I will knit until I get 3 stitches from the edge again, slip, slip, knit. I will knit around and knit 2 together on this side, and then knit around. So I will continue to do this method until I have 32 stitches on the top and 32 stitches on the bottom. We're going to continue to decrease. At that point, I will be ready to just simply knit in the round until the foot is the length that I want. And it will begin to look like this. So you can see actually here I've marked it, and this is a good method. So as soon as I am done knitting all the decreases and I'm ready to start knitting in the round, I place a marker so that I can count how many rows I knit before my decreases, so that I can match my 2 socks, right? Because I for sure have done it accidentally where one is longer than the other. So this is my point at which I can start counting my rows for how many I have to do for the end of my foot. Okay, so we will see you back here when we're ready to knit in the round.